All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk. My name is Corey Three-Wing, and we are back this week talking about the three memories, the three levels of consciousness. As we get going today, a couple quick things. We've got some people from all over the world with us, which we love and adore. As we move through, if you'd all be so kind to keep your mics on mute, except for when you're speaking with us, that would be great. We are recording this. And we're going to be launching this out to the world. And so if you don't want to be recorded, go ahead and keep your cameras on and that kind of thing. So thank you for that little bit of beginning protocol. So today, let's introduce the co-hosts that are here with us. Like I said, I'm Corey Three-Wing. Who else is here? Anybody?
Well, I am Kim. It's nice to be here, and I do love these sessions because they're always so enlightening. Even though we've been doing this work, we always learn something new and absorb it another way, and it's awesome. So thank you.
Right on. Hi, Kim.
I am Laura, and I am just thrilled to be here as always.
Welcome, Laura.
Hey, everyone.
And I am Sarah, and I'm all excited about talking on this particular subject, the three memories. Super excited to be here today.
Right on. So those are the four hosts that are doing this. We've definitely got some people from all over. We get to that a little bit later on for some ahas and takeaways and questions and comments, but we're going to get today. The three memories, what the heck are we talking about? I love to get into this with some definitions, right? And so first of all, I found some definitions of memory. First one is just memory. What is that? The power or process of reproducing or recalling what has been learned and retained, especially through associative mechanisms, right? Now I want to take this one step further. Memory is today defined in psychology as the faculty of encoding, storing, and retrieving information. And that comes from Squire from 2009. Psychologists have found that memory includes three important categories: sensory, short-term, and long-term. Each of these kinds of memory have different attributes. For example, long-term memory, indefinite amount. Sensory memory, or memory 2, is not consciously controlled. And short-term memory, or memory 3, can hold a limited amount of information, right? So memories 1, 2, and 3. Memory 1, now let's put some new words with this. Memory 1 is your super conscious, your all-knowing, your higher self, your timeless self. A super conscious memory is a physiological and passed down through your family. It is a field structure that informs our cells and our DNA how to act and what to turn on. So that's memory 1. Memory 2, that's our unconscious or our subconscious mind. Now this is emotionally based, like those are the values of your subconscious mind, your unconscious, based sometime between conception and birth. We start having emotional experiences. We have an unconscious memory, which is communicated in feelings. It runs the body, and it's easily trained to interpret symbols, including languages. And so through repetition, the unconscious mind can automate complex tasks like driving a car or playing a sport, those kinds of things. Like once you learn how, you don't have to think about doing it anymore. You just do it. So that's memory 2. And memory 3, that's the self-conscious or your conscious mind. Now this is intellectually based, and our intellectual centers kind of turn on somewhere around age 3 or so. And this is when we start having intellectual experiences of our emotional experience. We start thinking about our emotions, right? Memories 1, 2, and 3. Memory 3, our self, so known as our ego mind, and is our thinking, right? Our conscious experience, the right here, right now with us, right today, memory 3. So the main personality starts forming at birth or sometime before birth. All of this memory of the main personality is stored in memory number 3. This is who is making most of the decisions every day, our awake self. So then our personality parts are created through things like trauma or pain that disrupt the main personality and cause some of these self-sabotaging and suffering experiences that we've talked about on so many other episodes. Also, very enjoyable experiences also create long-lasting beliefs and actions in much the same way. So it's not just the painful parts. So our personality parts, the painful parts, joyful parts, they can be in any of the three memory structures, right? And they can be, if they're asleep, they can wake up at any time. Something can stimulate something far away or that we haven't thought about in a long time. Now, pain, sometimes, this is a great one we think about a lot because one, it asks us to pay attention. Pain is an opportunity to grow and learn about ourselves. And so when pain is too great, or perhaps some suffering is passed down through the family line, some of these parts can be amnesic to the main personality or asleep, like we were just talking about. Some of these parts can live in the active experience and cause conflict with the main personality, right? So what our goal here in working with these three main consciousness levels, these three main memories, is that when we work with these, we want to treat all aspects so that they can join the main personality and share all information. We want to come together as one. And we do this by removing the emotion of the memory and keeping the content. And what I mean by that, this is when pain turns into wisdom, or wounding turns into wisdom. So what I want to do now is I'm going to pass the baton over to Sarah. We're going to unpack with Laura as well. We're going to unpack these three levels of consciousness known as the three memories. Sarah.
Thanks, Corey. Okay, so conscious mind. So that's memory number 3. Memory 3 is, you'll hear it referred to that in our work, but in that we're talking about the conscious mind, the mind of your 5 senses that enables you to consciously experience the physical world. So the conscious mind is what we operate with during our daily activities and our waking hours, but it represents really a small portion of our consciousness and our awareness. So it's the thinking part of your brain, the part of our mind that needs to make sense of things, reasoning, logic, rationalizing part. When we get input, we receive information from our senses, analyze the facts, all of that kind of input gets processed. What are we thinking about it? How do we think about it? I don't know what to think about it. You get caught up in your mind. There's a lot of active thought. Even when we're children, you hear, would you think? That's a skill. And that is exercising that conscious part of memory, of your memories, which is memory 3. And the process that you employ while thinking, rationalizing, understanding, it's really strongly affected by the opinions of others, and that can cloud our ability to draw real true guidance. So dividing and separating the world into either or categories. The conscious level of awareness is usually problem oriented. So it's difficult to be completely certain of decisions that are drawn from that level because the analytical mind sees all the possible solutions, trying to work it out, right? Ultimately, it doesn't have the ability to distinguish a best. So you can see all the possible choices, you can be looking at options, and that can get you caught up in your mind because your reasoning and logic, it's not going to, thinking about something is not going to tell you which thing is best. And that's a loop that a lot of us get caught in. You know, I just think about it more and think about it more. I'll know what the best thing to do is. That information isn't in our conscious mind. So if we rely exclusively on the conscious mind, we can find ourselves lacking certainty, slipping into this perpetual indecision. Just can't really take that last step, can't land on the right answer because the right answer isn't clear in our conscious mind. We can connect dots, but we can't see which option would be best. Lara?
So yeah, let's talk about the conscious mind. What is the conscious mind? The conscious mind can be thought of as the computer-like function of the mind. The conscious mind plays a unique role. It keeps us safe. So when discussing the power of the conscious mind, E. Stanley Jones said, the conscious mind determines the actions, the unconscious mind determines the reactions, and the reactions are just as important as the actions. So to most people, it's our conscious mind that determines who we are. It's who we think we are, and how we think things are. However, in reality, our conscious mind is just a small portion of who we actually are. It's just a really small portion. It's a very small part of how the three functions of our mind communicate with the universes, with everything. You know, just because our conscious mind is easily accessible, it doesn't mean it's the instrument that completely determines who we are and what we do and why we do it. You know, it's merely the vehicle that allows us to easily communicate through speech, through pictures or writing or physical actions. And really, it's a shallow form of thought, right? So the role of the conscious mind, our conscious mind is our objective mind. It has no memory and it can only hold one thought at a time. It functions to identify all the incoming information using our senses, our sight, our sound, our smell, our taste, our touch, our feeling. So it's taking it in. And it's continually, it's always observing and categorizing, sometimes correctly and sometimes incorrectly, what's going on around us. So it's the part of our mind that can't be fully trusted. So that makes me think of that phrase, don't believe a thought you think, right? So it's continually sorting impressions and consequently deciding which ones are relevant and which ones aren't relevant. So.
Oh, right on. So there's a little history, a little lesson about what the conscious mind. Unconscious mind. What is the unconscious mind? Or memory two, right? Our subconscious, our unconscious. This lies below the level of our conscious awareness. So this is located in the lower brain and in the spine, right? It records everything we do, every activity we engage in, our thoughts about likes about what. Although nothing is forgotten by the subconscious mind, most of the time this part of our consciousness remains hidden from our everyday awareness. However, the subconscious has a tremendous influence on how we think and act when we're in the conscious state, right? The subconscious is relatively dim in awareness, right? Kind of dark in the muck, kind of in the shadows, in the fog. It is the stuff of which dreams are made. We may think of it as the repository of all remembered experiences, right? Impressions left on the mind by those experiences, and tendencies awakened or reinforced by those impressions. So every experience that we've ever had, every thought, every impression of loss or gain resides in the subconscious mind and determines those patterns and our behavior far more than we realize. The subconscious, right, being unrestricted by the rigid demands of logic, right? Now we're in dream space, right? Where we can bend the rules, we can go beyond. This permits a certain flow of ideas that's just not possible in our regular conscious mind. Now different things can happen. So this flow may border into the world of intuition and imagination. But if the ideas are too circumscribed by subjectivity, too limited, too hard, too bound on a leash, they won't correspond with the external world around us. So when we dream at night, we are mainly operating in the subconscious level of consciousness, right? We're free in dreaming. We can dream about all kinds of things. So this subconscious mind can do all too easily intrude itself on our conscious awareness, right? Our subconscious kind of sneaks in, takes the light, steals the stage. It tricks us into thinking we're getting intuitive guidance. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes our subconscious mind can trick us. It can, it guide us. It can fool us when we're actually being influenced by past impressions and unfulfilled desires, right? Wow, a little confusion going on here. The subconscious mind is in some ways to the superconscious where real intuition resides, right? This world of intuition and imagination. So now both represent a flow of awareness without logical obstructions, right? The subconscious is therefore more open to the intuitions of the superconscious. Like the subconscious takes its direction from the superconscious. And sometimes the subconscious will receive this direction, though usually it's mixed with confusing imagery. So now to be really clear, I know I just said a lot of things. To be really clear in the guidance we receive can be difficult, but it's also important. So calamitous decisions have been made in the belief that one was drawing on higher guidance, but in fact, one was responding only to subconscious preconditioning. So in short, what that means is sometimes our subconscious sends us a message, we take it as guidance and intuitive aha moments or the rules to be followed, but really it's our self-sabotage, putting a pause on things, holding us down.
Right? That is my favorite thing I've heard in such a long time. So I want to repeat it. Calamitous decisions have been made in the belief that one was drawing on higher guidance, when in fact, one was responding only to subconscious preconditioning.
Right on.
I love that. That's just, So subconscious. Subconscious is often influenced by past actions and previously wrong decisions. It's kind of like a binary computer. It accepts or rejects things with, simple yes, no, in order to make a decision. It deals with one thought at a time, positive or negative, yes or no. The benefit of that kind of thinking is to preserve our lives. It enables us to make a go, no-go decision quickly. Okay, so the subconscious is like a huge memory bank. Its capacity is virtually unlimited, permanently stores everything that happens to us. And when you've got the subconscious mind at the helm, so let's take a closer look at what that subconscious mind is actually doing. We'll take a closer look at the role it plays in our lives and its connection to our intuition. So it's the part of our mind that takes the wheel when we sleep, dream, behave according to beliefs, which we're not really aware of, right? Although nothing is forgotten by the subconscious mind, that part of our consciousness, it remains hidden from our everyday awareness. So we're not usually, and we'll say this, you'll hear it in regular conversation. You have to be conscious of it. Be conscious. That's because there's so much that you do, like, oh, I wasn't thinking. I don't know what I was doing. I wasn't even thinking. That's your subconscious at the helm. so when that part of your operating, and it's a big part, is outside of your scope of vision, outside of your awareness, it does not exclude it from influencing how you think and act in your conscious state. So because your thoughts are constantly referencing with what, you know, how am I to think about this? And you're trying to sort things out, you're trying to work it out. Your conscious mind is referencing over to your subconscious with a go, no go, yes, no, you know, always, is that good, bad, yes, no. And so it pulls those decisions and that behavior into your conscious state. And that means that the ideas drawn from the subconscious, okay, you got to hear this. It means that the ideas that you draw out of your subconscious in that way are not new and they're not creative. They were stored. They've been there. They're not new. It's not a new idea.
Right.
You're not creating. It's referencing past experience. So it's our subconscious mind that provides the meaning to all of our interactions in the world. Meaning is it's filtered through your beliefs and your habits. So how the subconscious mind functions. Your subconscious mind communicates information through our feelings, emotions, imagination, sensations, and your dreams. So our current understanding of consciousness is pretty rigid. It's, you know, we're working it out, you know, which I love the attempt to explain logically, reasonably, use our self-conscious mind to try and unpack what exactly is going on with the subconscious. It's only a little ironic. So when our current understanding of consciousness is rigid, fails to give recognition to the conscious experiences outside of the definition of normal. So any experience outside of what you know to be normal would be considered fake, abnormal, unnatural. So normal consciousness is earthbound and is only normal in the sense that it is well known. You're aware of something on the outside as well as some specific mental functions happening on the inside. It's important to know that our subconscious mind can't move outside its fixed norms. It reacts automatically to situations using previously stored behavior responses. It works without the knowledge or the control of the conscious mind. And that is why we're often unaware of our own behavior. So studies from as far back as the 70s show that our brains begin to prepare for action about 0.2 seconds before we consciously decide to act. So think about that. Roll that over in your conscious mind. Studies as far back as the 70s show that our brains begin to prepare for action 0.2 seconds before you consciously decide. So even when we think we're conscious, it's our subconscious mind that's actually making the decisions for us.
Oh, I'm totally geeking out on
Sarah?
this. It's been a total week of geeking out once again. I love all this. I'm way too often unaware of my behavior still, even as I'm learning all of this. So the superconscious mind, memory one. So quantum physics tells us that nothing in the universe is solid. So if that's the case, then no matter how tiny each and every atom, molecule, or particle is, there must be space between everything. And if so, then life is really more like an energy flow than a collection of solid things, right? So the superconscious mind encompasses a level of awareness that sees beyond material reality, and it taps into the energy and the consciousness behind that reality. Some refer to it as the ether, right? You've probably heard that, or the essence of the universe, or a flow of electromagnetic waves that permeates all matter and space, or the space between our thoughts, right? So the superconscious is where true creativity is found. Expressions of this kind of creativity are distinctive from those that come from the subconscious, like Sarah was talking about. The superconscious is where ideas for truly great works of art, music, poetry, the great scientific discoveries, and where spiritual experiences are found, the deep spiritual experiences that we have. And profound healing of all kinds of ailments can take place in this superconscious state. Intuition has been a buzz topic in our world lately, right, guys? Some of us are deep into a Chris Duncan course on intuition, so it's on our minds, and intuition and heightened mental clarity flow from the superconscious awareness. The conscious mind is just limited by its analytical nature. I know that well. I'm a really analytical person. And so it sees all things as separate and distinct. And we may be puzzled by a certain situation that we're having, confused, not sure what to do. But because it seems unrelated to other events, it's difficult to come up with a clear course of action, right? When we can't see the bigger picture, right? And by contrast, because the superconscious level of consciousness is unitive, that's a new word for me, isn't that a great word? Unitive. And it sees all things as part of a whole. It can readily come up with the solutions. We can try to figure things out all we want, right? With our limited perspective, using our conscious mind and recycling what's sitting in there and having these reactions that we've had again and again and again. But the superconscious, that superconscious connection allows us to have access to the big picture, to all that's possible, and just come up with the solutions that we couldn't figure out on our own, right?
Oh man, yeah, for sure. Well, I want to unpack and dig into what is the superconscious mind and the land beyond, right? We're going to get
the land beyond.
Right. Yeah. I want to get into what's going on when we arrive inside, the world of the superconscious, and Laura, bless your heart, you went digging and found some really cool stuff that we're about to go into, right? And I think this is going to be some new information for you guys. This is pretty cool stuff, right? And so I want to start digging in a little bit, and we're going to share some of this. And it's kind of profound, right? This ever exhilarating but complex super consciousness is a level all of its own with levels inside of it. While the conscious and the subconscious minds are familiar to us, and new. It is a hidden spiritual system behind intuition. Okay, now, hidden spiritual system attached to superconscious? What is going on here? It's attached to our spirituality. It's attached to our physical and our spiritual healing, right? How big can we imagine? How far can our focus go? The work of our superconscious mind is often overlooked when we aspire to live a richer and more meaningful life. Well, we are more familiar with the fleeting moments of raised consciousness. Few know the techniques for purposely entering this exiled state of superconsciousness. Right, yeah, superconsciousness. It is the state reachable only through things like meditation or change, or affirmations and prayers. And skilled focus, practice. It's, practicing these things allows us to go bigger. These are designed to lead us into a state of this super consciousness, to arrive in many states inside super consciousness. It is the super conscious mind that makes humans possible of achieving greatness and elevating the human spirit. It's a place of magic. The idea of higher consciousness is rooted in the notion of reaching a higher self that transcends this reality. It is the essence of the human experience that makes us capable of going beyond the confines of the physical world and the trappings of logic.
Right? That whole raised consciousness, elevated state of consciousness, meditation, the ideas are there. There's a lot of, there's a lack of clarity often in the information out there on what that actually is and what you're actually doing and what you need to, what do you need to know? What's the how? How do we access our super conscious? So if we have a really good meditation and we feel fully calm, then we're beginning to experience a level of super consciousness. So as we go deeper into meditation, we experience a deepening peace, a calmness, a divine love, even bliss. Then we're experiencing deeper levels of the super consciousness. So Einstein described this as the mystic emotion. I love that, the mystic emotion, the finest emotion of which we are capable.
Right.
So for myself, I call that joy. The idea behind leveraging this superconscious state of mind, our genius level thinking, an empowering perspective, a startling flow of ideas, inspiration, and excitement. So it's about accessing what you'll hear referred to as the higher self, or the superconscious aspect of you that connects you to the all of the universe. So within super consciousness, it's a flow state. It's a state of being where you're mentally focused and clear. A lot of people refer to that as they're in the zone. Everything's just really clear and focused, and you're in this higher awareness. So here are a few more reasons to learn how to access that superconscious state. In the superconscious state, you'll find inspired action, genius level thinking, that state of flow, brilliant ideas. In the superconscious state, you can operate from love with an absence of fear. You'll have clearer or an enhanced perception. You'll have that extra sensory perception, that ESP, a broader perspective than that ego self. You'll find self-confidence, peacefulness, compassion, intuition. All that is sitting in a superconscious state. That's where you find those pieces. Lara?
I love this so much. I'm just so loving this. Okay, so there are varying levels of consciousness as defined by different schools of thought, ranging from 3 levels to 7 levels, actually even more. And they include the subconscious, preconscious, conscious, unity conscious, higher consciousness, divine consciousness, cosmic consciousness, and super conscious. Love the superconscious. The different levels of consciousness create varying
Right.
states of knowledge, perception, and feelings that we experience. And what is true
Hey,
in
Laura,
yeah,
I want to interrupt you. I just want to, can we have that list again?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, these levels of the superconscious, I think are so cool. I just wanted to
Yeah.
hear, can you give that to us one more time?
Yep. Subconscious, pre-conscious, conscious, unity conscious, higher consciousness, divine consciousness, cosmic consciousness, and super consciousness.
Yeah.
I love that. Those
Thank
are like the,
you.
We're
those
gonna
are like
go
the
through-
levels of heaven, right?
Right? Exactly. We're going to go through those a little bit more in just a bit.
I just posted those in the chat for you all, by the way.
Awesome.
Too,
Thank you,
so if
Corey.
you wanted to write the
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Deepak Chopra says there is only consciousness in all its different expressions. I love that. Within the state of super consciousness, you come into connection with a bigger part of yourself, of God, of the universe. You shift from operating from a fear-based survival mindset into operating with a love-based, giving, service mindset. And to illustrate this, we can organize consciousness in, I was going to do descending order, but maybe I'll do it the opposite way. In order from the lowest vibration to the highest realization. Is that okay if I do it the other way, you guys?
Yeah, go for it.
I'd rather build it up,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so the subconscious, this is below your conscious state or aware state, and including your memories, stored emotions and experiences, automatic biofunctions, habits performed without consciously thinking, and repressed or forgotten emotions and memories. Then there's the pre-conscious. That's the information within your mind that can be easily accessed into consciousness. This includes emotions or information that has not been repressed, such as recalling your old address or a phone number, names of your past. You're conscious. This is your mind in a state of awareness and where you're able to choose or direct and reason. It's what you're thinking about. It's what you think you know, what you are aware that you're aware of, right? Super conscious, your mind connected to a bigger self, accessing a perspective or ideas of superhuman abilities, genius thinking, a broader perspective. It contains the qualities of interconnectedness, peace, bliss, clarity, love, altruism, service, safety, and well-being. This feels so good. Love that list. Cosmic consciousness, transcending sensory human consciousness, loss of fear of death from knowing that life and death are illusions from a more expanded perspective, containing the Akashic records or information about everything contained in the universe. Unity consciousness, the state of consciousness that realizes that all is connected and we're all one. We're all unified. This can be an aspect of super consciousness in its deeper or higher levels, right? And then divine consciousness, that's seeing through the eyes of God, right? Enough said about that, right? Seeing through the eyes of God, the ultimate consciousness.
Right at the top. So cool. So there's some levels, that we're talking about. Like once you get into this super consciousness world, then okay, well now there's another stack of lasagna right there to work on, places to go, and a path to take. So super consciousness as related to like unity, like divine and cosmic consciousness. Wow. In super consciousness, you can see the material dimension and the subtle inner workings of cosmic and unity consciousness, and bring a broader perspective of ideas and Super consciousness at its higher levels overlaps with the lower levels of cosmic and unity consciousness. So how can you reach that state of super consciousness? So the broader perspective of a super consciousness can be measured in certain brainwave states known as lambda and epsilon frequencies. When you are in this brainwave functioning, the characteristics and experience of super consciousness are present. So I'm not going to put it to you lightly. I'm just going to tell you the truth. This is not always an easily achievable state. It takes practice, right? It usually takes exercise, some diligence, some discipline, a commitment. You got to want it. You got to go there. You got to learn how, right? We've forgotten. We get to remember how to do this. And the qualities of super consciousness and the measurable frequency of the super consciousness, we can get into it a little bit. So here are the various ways to attain super consciousness. Before you get all excited and think you're going to be all super conscious for your next big old work project, let's go over some prep. Let's get you ready. Let's get you ready. The lambda and epsilon frequencies of super consciousness are very high or very low frequencies, meaning you need to train your body and mind to receive them. If you do not train beforehand, it's kind of like trying to lift 10 pounds more weight than you usually lift at the gym with no prior training. Or like trying to run really high voltage into a light bulb designed for low voltage. So you blow up the light bulb. You are, I am, we all are human. Light bulb analogy is actually pretty perfect. It's pretty accurate. Symptoms of blowing your personal biosystem may include intense pressure in your body, headaches, maybe psychosis, maybe some unexplainable illnesses or some emotional instability, perhaps, some discomfort. So much like weightlifting, proper training needs to happen mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and holistically. So super consciousness at its higher levels encompasses cosmic consciousness and unity consciousness. So to start training, let's discuss the lower levels of super consciousness.
Okay, yeah, let's. So how do we?
Yeah, let's do that.
Go there. Let's go there, Corey. So we want to start training ourselves into super consciousness and accessing and flexing that muscle. How do we? We're gonna go for the low hanging fruit. We're gonna start in the lower levels of super consciousness. So where are we trying to get, and how are we going to get there? So this is your higher self, your intuition, your genius thinking. It's a state of flow. It's heart intelligence, infinite intelligence. And there are 7 techniques. There's 3 bonus ones that enhance the effects and make it easier to enter those lower levels of the super consciousness. So how to get to a higher state, a state of higher consciousness, higher awareness. You'll hear people like raise your, you want to raise your awareness. Remember, this takes consistent practice. Okay, so it's consistent practice over time. Good news, you can practice pretty much anytime you choose. Okay. One technique. Get into a state of gratitude and love. So you know that feeling when you're in love and everything is perfect? That's the right frequency foundation. So let yourself feel love, feel gratitude. And really just thinking about it is enough. You will see that advice all over everywhere. Gratitude journals, be thankful, a state of grace, and the encouragement to feel the love.
Right. Sarah, I want to jump in right there real quick.
Mhm.
Because you gotta crank up the volume. I mean, you can read about it dang day and not do anything about it, so you have to experience it, try it on, walk around in those shoes.
Yeah, it's not outside of accessible. You can invite it in. You can just decide you want to feel like that and allow yourself to imagine it. And it's not going to, sometimes there's a little bit of fear around trying something new, but that's simply, again, we'll go back to a quick pop back to the subconscious. Your subconscious is referencing a go, no go from past experience. And
oh, Sarah, you popped on mute for a second. Go back a sentence or two.
sorry, I was just saying the subconscious is referencing a go, no go decision making based on past experience. And so when you're aware of that and you choose it anyway, you've got a little override happening, and you can invite that in, and that discomfort is just your subconscious, raising a flag saying, whoa, what are you doing? And you can choose past it, okay, with intention. So a bonus there, get into a state of awe, like feel awe. And that word is overused, awesome, but what is that? Like really feel awe. And usually you can find that feeling, if you're looking around for that feeling, nature is a great source of awe-inspiring vistas and feeling and energy. So get into love, get into gratitude, get into a state of awe. That it's that little cocktail. That's number one. Number two, keep your body moving and flexible. So walk, run, dance, swim, practice yoga. Keep your body healthy and flexible. So when a stiff body will inhibit the flow of energy, and that can cause pressure or pain. So a bonus there, listen to your favorite song and let that move you. There are songs that, well, that there are songs that just take you there. Songs that you absolutely love and just take you to this inspired, pumped up, amazing place, right? So use those songs and allow the song to move your body and move yourself around, and allow the flexibility and the flow in your body movement. That's number two. Number three, relax the mind and the body. So in order for energy to flow through your body, you need to relax it. So if you talk to Qigong practitioners, they'll agree you need to allow the flow and relax to allow, right? Number four, ask for what you want. Just set your intention. Align your mental energy to your desired outcome. Just ask.
Yes, please. Do your asking.
Right? Number five, allow it to just flow. Now, what's that? Allow it to flow. Sure, easy to say. How do you do that? So when your genius level thinking, ideas, and your inspiration comes, don't question it. Don't capture it and start to try and filter it and sort it. Just don't crush the life out of it with your logical, analytical, rational thinking. Just allow it to flow through you.
I felt
I'm sorry. Lara?
okay. Okay. I'll do it.
Okay. So,
Laura.
so when your genius level thinking, ideas, and inspiration come, don't question it. Don't crush the life out of it with logical, analytical, rational thinking. Ensure you allow it to flow to you by feeling worthy of it. and
Oh.
trusting in it.
Mhm.
Feel worthy of it and trust in it. Allow it.
Right.
It's allowed. Grant permission. Permission granted. Allow. That's number 5.
Mhm.
So number 6, eat clean and eat for vibration. So in order to hold higher vibrations, you want to keep your body healthy and eat food that enhances that high vibration you're going for. So usually it's eating clean, like no junk food, no chemicals. Eat real food. Eat real actual food, not like prepackaged chemical compositions. You want food, nutrition. That will help your body, the energy vessel is going to better hold those higher frequencies. Fasting can also allow for your body to move into higher vibration. There's a lot of information about intermittent fasting, and there's
Right.
yeah, you go check that out. Clean eating is it matters.
Mhm.
You want to hold vibration in your physical body. You watch your intake on your physical body.
Sarah, I'm going
Oh,
to jump in. I want to add something to that real quick.
okay.
Like I know that like those people who are in ceremony world, who go to Peru and they work with the shamans and they're going to work with ayahuasca and those kinds of things. There is a diet that is required for weeks in advance so that you are ready to have this kind of experience. So this history of the dieta, eating clean, eating raw, real food from Mother Nature as opposed to from a factory. There's all kinds of science around what that means.
So to give everyone a very easily understood metaphor around that, your body is your energy vessel.
Mhm.
So the vessel, it's the cup, it's the glass that contains, right?
Mhm.
So you won't put clear spring water into a filthy glass.
Ooh, I love that.
You need to keep the vessel clean. It's going to, that your clear fresh spring water is not going to taste the same
Mhm.
out of a crusty old cup, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not going to taste the same. You put that in a clear, clean, beautiful vessel, and it's going to taste clear and clean. That water is going to not, it's going to be of the best quality, and it's not going to be deteriorated. A crusty old cup is not going to hold beautiful, clear spring water. It's going to add impurity to the beautiful spring water, right? So keep that in mind. Bonus note on that would be eating meat grounds you. So if you want to facilitate the vibrations, refrain from eating meat around the time of your practice.
Yeah.
Because the meat will ground you down and you're looking to get up into a higher vibration. So you can watch with fasting and with meat intake and these diets, you can pay attention to that, and it really gives a little boost into how you can facilitate your own access to super consciousness. So that was number 6. That was a big one. Number 7, practice transcendental meditation. Great. What's that? What? Practice transcendental. Okay. Going to Google that. Well, this is where things start to get a little bit more advanced. Okay. When you first start transcendental meditation, you start to tap into your super consciousness. Okay. So as you continue to train in transcendental meditation, you will eventually experience the gap at it's an expanded level of consciousness that transcends your identification of yourself and body. You're outside of yourself. You start to see the space. They call it the gap. It's it's that expanse, and where you can see a separation of self and body. Okay, you can sense that, you get a tangible experience of that. You experience this cosmic super or unity consciousness. So that experience coincides with lambda or epsilon brainwave states biologically. So you will also be running much higher vibrational energy throughout your body.
Right on.
So there's your tips of the week.
7 methods, 7
7
things you can
methods.
do to step into this world.
Yeah.
7 different support systems, activities, new habits and behaviors to come closer to what we're talking about. Thanks,
You
Sarah,
can start
for going through.
collecting them and moving your world in and around those considerations. It can really bring you into a different state of and experience of life.
Right.
So, Lara, do we have a little review? This
Sure.
is big stuff.
Big stuff. Yep. So memory 1 is the super conscious. It's the all-knowing. It's the timeless. Memory 2 is the unconscious or the subconscious. It's emotionally based. It begins between conception and birth. And memory 3 is the self-conscious. It's intellectually based, and it begins around the age of 3. You know, by understanding and respecting these 3 levels of consciousness, the 3 memories, and how they interact with each other, we're really training ourselves to interact super consciously. Communicating with the super conscious, or communicating super consciously, we can pass, share, and utilize information from that higher perspective, from that higher source, to affect change in our personal experience of life. You know, I can geek out on this stuff endlessly, but this isn't just super fascinating stuff to know. You know, it is super fascinating stuff to know, but that's not all it is. You know, our access to the superconscious can powerfully help us in the process of creating those lives that we absolutely love, that we're always talking about around here. You know, that's the goal, right? For us to have these lives that we absolutely love. And this is just a really powerful way of assisting ourselves in creating that. So
Yeah, right on, Laura. Yeah, memory 1, 2, and 3, you know, like the all-knowingness, that emotional history, right? And then there's intellectual history, and they all go together and they need each other. It's like this, it's a trinity, it's a triangle. You know, and me, Corey, 3-wing 3 is an important thing for me. Think magic happens in 3s. You know, there's the divine perspective of 2 plus a witness. You know, I think that's so fantastic. So we've covered a lot today, you know, and so, you know, those of us who are coaches, you know, we're trained in this super conscious communicating, and we can lend this higher level of understanding to our clients, allowing them to like intervene super consciously for themselves, you know, and we can do this with the recode. The superconscious rapid recode is how we use what we know about consciousness in order to manifest or create a life that we love, right? We now understand that thinking or feeling about a situation, I love that. We're going to feel about it. How not bring answers. The information and wisdom is held at that superconscious level, right? And we get to go there. As trained coaches, we access information and communication at this higher level, and we can retrieve those wisdoms and communicate that with our clients to create awareness and clarity. The use of a metaphor in this world it's the vehicle we use for transmitting the information needed, right? Symbols, parables, metaphors, right? Those are the tools, the foundations of a good story, of all good stories, these delicious details. So then we can share this information and offer instructions on how to use it super consciously. So we coach our clients' higher self on how to arrange and employ this information to achieve right. This is then able to change our minds when it is allowed. Simple intention of permission and a clear desired result is all that is needed. Once the changes are made to connect the dots, if you will, to the outcome, the client's experiences clarity, they experience peace, ease. And we refer to this as alignment with our desire. You know, I love those words, alignment with desire. That just sounds good. I want more of that. Waiter, can I have 2 of those, please? You know, I want that. So this super conscious work that we're talking about, it empowers us all to take the helm of our lives and make the choices necessary to create a life of more satisfaction and less pain. We've talked about that a lot, right? So that's kind of the and some aha moments for those of you in the room. We want to hear from you. When we're talking about the 3 memories, these 3 levels of consciousness, you know, how did that sit with you guys today? Let's open up the circle. Who's in the room with us today? Anyone want to pop in and say hello? Jim, yeah, come on in, Jim.
Yeah, the 7 levels of consciousness that you guys went over, I've never heard it put that way before, so that was very good for me.
Oh, right on.
And then the Transcendental Meditation is something I'm definitely going to look into and try some of that.
There are many websites and kind of how-tos. It's called TM for
Right.
short. You'll see it referred to as TM. Right. There's tons of information and tools and guides and leaders and books and things about transcendental meditation. It's out there. Yeah.
Just something I've never done before, but now I've got a good reason to try it.
Awesome, Jim. We'll give. That's cool. Thanks, Jim. Anybody else? Any ahas? Inspirations, takeaways? Who else is in the room? All right, we know you're there. All righty. I see Rebecca turn the camera on. Is that Jazz?
Hi, Corey, it's Jazz. Yeah.
Hi, Jazz. Welcome.
Hey, Jazz.
How's everyone?
So good. Thank you for asking. And yourself?
It's a different vibe. I want to get back on that high vibe and that loving energy and the lessons, because I find, is it the part-time personality, or then Chris's voice about behavior, your actions? Because I started with high hopes, you know, with the recode and the lenses, and I did one day and then didn't get everything done on it, and I haven't done another one, and just feeling a little lost and overwhelmed and pulled in many directions and still trying to find my way. Like I feel hamster wheel, I don't know. But then it's like, it's a beautiful sunny day. I'm alive. There's so much to be grateful for.
Right.
Yeah,
And I want to create.
right there.
I
That's
wanna
what it
create.
is.
Yep.
I'm joining a friend for lobster steak deal.
What?
In the middle of everything that
Ooh.
needs to be done, obligations, responsibilities, notices, court, more notices, and it's just
Be right where you are today, though, you know, and again, get into that state of gratitude, get into, just allow yourself, even if it's for a few minutes or a few moments, you can choose to feel love and gratitude and awe. I mean, you're in the Lower Mainland, you're in the Vancouver area. You know, there's some beautiful things to look at.
it is beautiful
You know?
here. So
And
beautiful here.
just stand and contemplate. It's lovely, and just getting yourself into and allowing those moments really contributes to getting you in that state and getting you up into that, you know, lifting yourself up.
Yeah. You know, one of those things, Jazz, is, you know, when we make that conscious choice, you know, let's just choose a little short 3-letter word called joy.
I
and we
love it.
choose joy. We're going to make that choice to not just to choose joy, but then to remember, what does joy feel like? Times you're joyful, what was that like? How does it look to look through those eyes? How does it sound to listen through those ears and walk around in those joyful shoes? And before long, in just a moment or two, you're not just going to be thinking about joy, you're going to be feeling it. Remembering it lets you feel it. Now that's right there. You just raised the vibration. You just took hold of it and took it on. You made a choice, and now you've done it. And that's what we're talking about here today.
If you catch yourself, because everyone has to do things, life, you don't like so much tasks need to get done, responsibilities, obligations.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, I don't like this. What can I do? And I was like, oh, I want to feel happy. I'm going to move over here. And then I'm just exhausted, tired. Is it okay to honor your body and say, okay, you can sleep? But when you sleep, you're not getting your responsibilities and obligations done. And then it gets even more daunting.
I'm just going to take a minute here, guys. Jazz, when I'm hearing that,
yeah.
what I'm hearing is your conscious mind trying to sort out and make sense of what to do.
Yeah.
And like we talked about in this session,
Yeah.
your mind, you can you can connect the dots all the way to, I don't know which one is best, but you can see all of the options. Mm-hmm. And so you are in your self-conscious mind, rationalizing, logicking everything out, because that's where we live most of the time, and that's perfect. But the reason that you're not finding which is the best choice is because it's not in that part of your mind. You really do need to step out of all of that thinking. And it sounds illogical, okay? It's going to sound like, well, that doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't. Sense is in your conscious mind. It's not sensible at all. What you do is you give yourself those moments of choosing gratitude, choosing joy. Stand and look at the mountains. They're gorgeous. Look at the Pacific Ocean. Go to the beach and marvel at life. And even if you do small bits, it will pull you away from all of that, because the answers will become inspired. They will come to you in those moments of awe and wonder and joy. You have to allow yourself to be over there. And that's where your answers are. Your best choice will come to you when you don't think about it. So you do have to think about it for a time, and that's reasonable and that's fine. You know all of your options, but when you're choosing, go to the place of awe, wonder, joy, gratitude, and allow yourself to be open to inspiration. And then you will know, because somebody else isn't going to be able, you can't look up the best choice in a book. You can't ask somebody else what is best for you, but allow that inspiration to come. And those 7 suggestions on how to tip the scales in that direction so that you can allow that inspiration to come to you, it will come. It'll come to you. And you just, if you don't know that, just choose to know it. And it doesn't sound sensible, and it's not going to, and that's okay too. Does that help?
The inspirations do come, then it's the wrestle. Is that ego or is that intuition? Which I put that to the side, and it's just and it's like move, and it's like taking that action step is where it's paralyzing, and it's just move. You can do it. Just move. It's like talking yourself off a ledge.
So the inspiration, when you don't know where it came from, where were you at when it came? Were you sitting in awe? Were you sitting in joy? Were you sitting in love? Were you sitting in wonder and gratitude? And if that's when you got it, that's fine. That's it. Otherwise, you're just referencing past behaviors in your subconscious mind. And
Okay.
that's like, you practice noticing. Where is it coming from?
Yeah.
And then you'll know, and it'll be fine. And if and then that becomes your true choice. And then you need to step into a recode to help you unhook from the things that hold you back from doing what you know is best for you. That's where the recode comes in.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
for daily meditation, because I'm not able with the meditations, my mind wanders and I'm not able to follow along. So I'm always wondering. Meditation is so important because you're quieting your mind and you're allowing the creative juices to flow and the dreams to come forward, right?
Well, part of that, Jess, is, let your mind wander. That's part of it, and when your mind is wandering, just notice, witness your mind wandering, and then do your best to come back, especially if it's a guided meditation or you're following along with a story. That's one of the easiest ways to get into that practice, but when your mind is busy, it's okay. You're not doing it wrong. In fact, you're doing it right. It's just letting the tape play, and then you step above yourself in that way where you can witness yourself and your busy mind right there. That's what you're there to do. You're pulling out and witnessing yourself. You're witnessing your own mind. And that's it. That means you're doing it right. And eventually that busy mind, that story will play itself out and slow down and kind of fade away. And then you're going to start having those meditative experiences that you hear all the wise men on the hills sitting up there on the mountaintops talking about, for sure. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Jazz, Connor puts a YouTube video in the chat for you. Thank you, Connor.
Go. Thanks, Connor.
Thank you, Connor.
Hey, Susan. Yeah, you've had your hand up.
Yes, on the ahas and feedback, I really love the seven accessing higher self 7 tips, techniques. In that, you're thinking this and you're thinking that, and you say, oh, just change this diet and do this. Well, now it's all sort of put together in, that's why I keep getting these hints. So for me, it was very clarifying. Thank you very much, Sarah, and all of you.
Thanks so much,
It's always so
Susan.
good to have you, love. So good to have you here. Yeah.
And Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
Yeah, good morning. Again, those 7 tips of how to be super conscious was just really affirming and really beautiful to hear. And I'd just like to talk about the part of us that's already living in the super conscious, that's already living in that. So for example, I've always kept fit, I've always eaten well, etc., but I've always oscillated in between. And when it comes to, for example, going for a run, I know that my higher self is telling me to go for a run, but my ego self is telling me, no, you can stay still. Or my unconscious self is saying, no, you don't need to go for a run, but I'm stuck in my stuff when I hold myself back from going for a run. And then when I go for a run and I override that self chatter, which is holding me back, I feel live a more higher life. So in those times where we get lost, it's usually that naggy part of us that's going, you need to be doing that, like that part of Jazz that's saying you need to rest. It's a naggy part that's going, you need to lie down right now. And then there's this ego or this unconscious part of us going, no, I need to do this, and this, and keep going on this train. But really it's that backwards part that's going kind of like a should, like really ultimately what you need to do is run, or ultimately what you need to do is rest, and it's usually, that's how I feel anyway. I find it very affirming. And also before this work, I myself can reflect on how I've nurtured that part of myself with the good food, because we have this truth that's there already running the scenes. This work's just really highlighting it and bringing it to the forefront, that in areas of our lives we're already living it. We might not be, we're oscillating in it, or we're in flow in some stages of it, but yeah, it's just a really beautiful yeah, that 7, what you need to do is really beautiful. Just really affirming and yeah, if that said anything at all.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you, Rebecca.
So beautiful. It really is.
Sure. I mean, I think doing this work, and becoming self-aware and understanding that these are the tools in our toolbox, these lenses, to use that word, that we went and polished our new lenses. We got new glasses to look through. We're bringing a new focus into our own experience, and there's so much science, there's so much information, there's so much work done by those that came before us, and work being done by those in the same circle that we're sitting in, our peers, our family, our mentors, our colleagues, as we validate our own experience together. We share this information, we hold each other accountable, right? We also are brave enough to be vulnerable. We're vulnerable enough to be brave together as we go on this journey into the frontier of this self-knowledge.
And Rebecca had her hand up again.
And there it is right there.
Yeah, I was just going to mention about the meditation and the busy mind. just to follow on what Corey was saying. What I've learned about meditation is thoughts are actually a form of stress. So when we go and sit down and we don't want to sit down, it's just stress, and it's actually stress leaving the body. It's energy leaving the body. And so the more we sit still and we just let the thoughts go, it is kind of like going for a walk and and releasing all of that energy. It's just coming in through thought form. So the busier the mind, the higher the stress levels. Excuse me. And so the more often we come into that centered place on a regular basis, the quieter the thoughts will be. And the more you come in towards that centered anchor, whether it be a mantra or whether it be something different, you'll notice that the thoughts will disappear and you'll be able to come into that centered place. And breathing is a really important anchor as well. And we can do that through the day. So if we get into a breathing rhythm and a meditation, in yoga you call it pranayama. Sometimes lots of people are doing this Wim Hof stuff, and they're understanding that the breath can actually take them somewhere. But then what I've realized is that throughout the day, when we do that breath work and then we move into our day, the breath comes to the forefront. The breath comes to the forefront of our experience, and then before we know it, we're utilizing the breath to get us through the day, and we're remaining more consciously aware and more so that's just a bit of a tip in how to release a bit of stress in the mind as well.
Thank you, Rebecca.
All right. How's everybody else in the room? Any other questions or comments as we're kind of coming to the end here today? 3 memories, levels of consciousness. We haven't heard from a couple other folks in the room. If you want to pop in, we are more than welcome. We'd love to hear from those who are hanging out in the back, behind the back curtain. If anybody else.
You know what, Corey? I just wanted to be a little more acknowledging of, there was that piece on clean eating, right? And what you put into your body, and the diet, those considerations of tending your physical vessel. And Branya's in the room, and she's a coach, and that is her wheelhouse. And she did put a comment in the chat to the people in the room. If you're looking for a little bit of support in that area, she had she's here to reach out to, and if anybody is looking to connect with Branya, just let me know and I can put you in touch with her.
Oh, sorry, you just popped on mute halfway through right before you ended. What was that last sentence, Sarah?
Oh, I said if anybody needs to get in touch with Branya and wants to reach out, just get a hold of me and I will put you in touch with her.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's part of, I've got that in my wheelhouse as well. You know, I've been mostly a vegetarian my entire life because of these very values. That's where that's where I've been doing it from. Yeah, right on, everybody. Right on. The other thing I want to throw out as a question is that as we choose topics for this, for Let's Talk, you know, we've definitely been listening and asking you guys what you guys want us to cover. And I want you to know we've listened and we've got a few things, you know, we've got a few little stew pots cooking on some of these bigger issues. Some of these we want to go out and do some research. We want to ask some questions and perhaps read a book or two and be ready to have those conversations. So we're working on masculine and feminine. You know, that was an ask that came out a couple of weeks ago and we heard you. We're working on it.
Oh, I'm so excited about
Yeah,
that.
totally.
That's a great
And I
one.
know Bronny's on the call and she and I had a talk last week about co-hosting a couple of things together too. And I haven't had a chance to get back to her directly. Yes, those things are happening. So if there's something you guys want us to jump into, tear it apart, unpack it, dig into it, talk about it, we're going to do that for you. You know, and the other part of that too is if you want to us, you know, because we want to do this with you. We do it together. It was one of the things that we love together. We come together in our prep sessions. We dig this stuff up. We learn it. We teach it to each other. We practice it with each other. And then we are ready to come and do it with you here in Let's Talk, you know, and this is a pretty cool thing to do, you know, is to come together and learn and teach each other and share the wisdoms that are in all of our back pockets, you know, and I'm pretty excited about that. Anyway, so if there's something like it that's on your mind, either jump in right now and say, hey, what about this or what about that? Or send us a message. You know, we'd love to hear from that too, you know, because
Well, if we're doing the masculine, feminine next week.
That's not next week.
Oh, it's not next week?
No, we have not put a date on it because it is not done being researched.
Yeah, that needs
Well,
to.
I was just wondering if we wanted to split it into maybe 3 and do like the concept of the masculine, feminine energies, and then take a week and do the divine masculine / distorted masculine, and then divine feminine, distorted feminine. We could do something like that.
Yeah, we'll work out something. Yeah, we'll figure that out yet. We're just too soon to decide. There's a lot going on. All of a sudden they threw the Hermetic principles in there and we went, oh my God. Like, holy moly, there's a lot of information there. So
we could do a whole series on the Hermetic principles too.
Oh man, yeah.
We're looking for that. Like we're welcoming votes and input. You know, we're pretty excited.
I would just really like to know how to embrace the feminine more effectively. To be in feminine, to accept, to allow. I just want to learn how to do that.
Yep. Awesome. So, all right. Well, yeah, thanks for that, everybody. You know, if you got some questions or some ideas, let us know. We'll hear you. And Connor, I saw you were holding up a book there, but it was blurry. I couldn't quite see. What are you talking about, Connor? What are you doing over there?
My druid friend gifted me, so I'm moving away to foreign lands next week. He gifted me this this book on divine masculinity.
Oh yeah, Matthew
Fox.
I'm gonna write that down.
Can you put it down a little bit?
So if anybody is interested in what?
That's okay. Matthew Fox is the author. What's the book title?
Lower the book a little bit so we can see the top.
The Hidden Spirituality of Men. Oh, cool.
Okay, I'll just throw a link in the chat to it. If anybody wants to see that. Thank you, Connor.
I'm gonna buy that book.
Yeah.
I think that's the right one.
Been involved in.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, everybody.
Connor, were you saying something?
All right.
Yeah, my line's a bit broken. Yeah, I've been involved in men's development work for several years, and it's based on Jungian archetypes and divine masculine. So
thank you for sharing that.
Cool. Excellent. Well, right on, everybody. Right on,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Well, thanks for coming together. You know, once again, I think we're getting to the point where we're going to wrap up the recording. Then we'll stay on for a minute and keep on chatting. But thanks for coming to Let's Talk, everybody. Thanks for being here. And we're going to see you next time on Let's Talk.
Thank
Kaylee,
you.